Hey, welcome to Lead Up Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Harbour. This is episode 468 of the Lead Up Podcast, and I'm really glad you're here. We're kicking off 2026 with a slate of great guests that we have planned for you this year on the Lead Up Podcast in our interview series. We're going to be running a new series this year called the Elite Leader Series. I want to make sure that you tune into that and get yourself ready to listen to leaders who are leading at an elite level and going to be sharing ideas with you, the leader, to help you get to that next level in all areas of leadership. Today, we're tackling a difficult but critical conversation for every leader, especially in the healthcare industry. We're going to be talking about the burnout crisis. Solo episode, just me talking and teaching to really help you, the leader. Here's what we know. Talent keeps walking out the door. And you're left wondering if you can truly change that, if anything can change. Because we've been watching it get that way for years. Doesn't really seem like it's getting any better. The numbers don't lie. And we don't even have to look too far back to realize how far it can really get. Just if we go back to the pandemic, nurse turnover soared to an unsustainable 27% overall. And while that figure's come down a lot and it's kind of leveled out, last year, the close of 2025, sitting around 16.4%. For an average hospital, that doesn't sound like a whole lot until you start looking at the dollars that it cost us. And for the average hospital, that translates to about $3.9 to $5.8 million annually. And that's at the low end, honestly, when you look at that turnover. It's a direct hit to your stability, your quality of care, and your ability to serve the community. It impacts your ability to attract new and better talent. It impacts your ability to keep the talent that you have when there's high turnover. And even more scarier than that is these early tenured nurses, those nurses that we hire, the turnover there is extremely high, over 50% leaving within the first 2 years of their work with you. And then if you dig even deeper into some of the specialty areas of healthcare, like emergency care, behavioral health, step-down units are reporting even higher rates than that 16.4%. So here's what we're going to talk about today is how that impacts the burnout and how turnover impacts the ability for you to continue to lead at an efficient and effective way. It's not just a staffing issue. It's a leadership crisis that we've got to get fully engaged in. I know many of you are doing that. We're going to talk about why healthcare leaders must act now, and more importantly, how you can start making a real difference. I'm going to give you a 3-step process today to help you with that. I want you to grab some paper, grab a pen, just take a few notes while we're talking today. And then if you want to dive into this topic a little deeper with me, certainly reach out to impact this at an even deeper level. I'm just setting this up with my conversation now, and as we move throughout this year, we'll be bringing some other like real world experts, like they're implementing some of the things that we're talking about to help you think differently and outside the box of what you're already doing. Here's a question for you. Where does this massive problem really begin? It's easy to point to long hours, emotional stress, and the sheer physical demands of the work that's required in a healthcare environment. And while those are all valid factors, they aren't the root cause. The number one reason people leave their jobs, and this has been true for a while and still continues to be true across all industries, is their direct supervisor. The reality is leadership gaps are pouring fuel on the burnout fire. When leaders fail to communicate effectively, recognize effort, or provide genuine support, they create an environment where even the most passionate employees feel drained, undervalued, and invisible. This isn't just about losing staff. It's about the direct impact on patient safety and quality of care. Disengaged burnout teams make more mistakes, and that's an unavoidable truth. I want to go to a place that has great leadership. I want to go to a place that has fully engaged employees. I want to go to a place that's reducing the margin for error. And the way we do that is lead more effectively. At Harbour Resources, we make it our life's mission to work with organizations to help leaders equip and be developed with the right tools Look, I was promoted myself because of how good I was and what I could do. Luckily for me, I've been a self-development junkie, and I went on to grow and develop myself and then get some coaching and development along the way. And I've spent and invested thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself to get to where I'm at today. Not all people are self-motivated enough to go develop themselves. So as leaders, we got to figure out ways to promote their development, to grow them, and now beyond their clinical expertise in the healthcare world. But we have to help, especially leaders, when we're promoting, support those leaders in their ability to lead people. They manage processes, but they don't know how to inspire and retain their teams. And this is where we have to get honest. As a leader, you're actively building a culture that makes people want to stay or makes people want to leave. In my book, Quit Losing Talent, I talk about building a stay culture, a place where people want to stay. Now, stay is an acrostic for me. I've talked about that in some of my other podcasts. I don't want to go any deeper than that today, but we want to create a place where our leadership style is not unintentionally pushing people out the door. And look, that's the root cause. And I know as a leader in the healthcare space, you're really good at finding root causes to people's symptoms. We've got to learn to use those same skills and that same experience in our world of leadership and get to the root cause of the symptoms of people leaving. That's a symptom of a root cause. Why are people really leaving? I'm giving you that number one cause. But what are some things that we can do once you've diagnosed that? Let me give you a powerful example. There's a hospital in New York City. They faced a staggering 46% nurse turnover. That's crisis. 46%, meaning one of two of their employees were leaving, extracting themselves from the organization. That's crisis level when it comes to healthcare. But the organization didn't just accept it. They invested in their people by implementing comprehensive professional development programs, creating clear career ladders, and fostering a culture of genuine appreciation. They were able to slash that turnover to just 7.3% by 2025. Now, that took several years to get there, but that's less than half of the national average that we're talking about today. That saved that organization over $8 million in turnover cost per year in a single year. It took them a while to get there, but $88 million. Think about the new equipment that can be purchased with that. Think about the benefits that can be added to. Think about the bonuses that can be provided with that $88 million. The reinvestment back to the organization and new leaders, whatever those things are. $88 million in a single year due to reducing that turnover down to that 7.3%, below the national average. If that can be done in a large organization like that, it can certainly be done where you're at. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the problem is solvable. It proves that leadership development isn't an expense. It's one of the highest return investments you can make. So how do you start? You don't need a massive multi-year overhaul to begin to see a change. It starts with small, intentional actions of leadership. Our engagement playbook, you can download it right off of our website. It's filled with practical strategies. One of the most powerful being micro recognition. This isn't about grand gestures or annual awards. It's about catching people doing things right every single day. Now, why is that important? Look, in healthcare, we need to catch people doing things wrong, because wrong in healthcare can cause a serious illness. It can cause even death in healthcare. As a leader, we have to move from this place of catching people making mistakes before they make it a fatal mistake. And in leadership, we need to become curious about what people are doing right. Find ways to practically and genuinely engage with them and catch them doing things right, and share that with them in a practical way. I write about this in my book, Tactical Praise, Quit Losing Talent. There's a chapter all about that. It can be as simple as this, saying, "Hey, Sarah, I saw how you handled that difficult family situation. Hey, Sarah, you handled that well." It's very specific what she did, that family situation, with so much compassion. Your approach made a real difference. Can you do that in your organization as a leader? What about teaching your leaders how to do that? This is what I mean by developing those leaders underneath you if you're a leader. Look, the true measure of leadership is, can you develop a leader who can develop another leader? Can you do that? That simple, specific praise responsive reinforces positive behavior and tells an employee, I see you and your work matters. When people feel seen and valued, their engagement skyrockets and burnout starts to fade. It's going to cost you a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of getting better, but you can certainly do that. And it's going to add money to your bottom line because you're going to immediately improve engagement and reduce turnover in an effective way. And ties directly into the framework we teach our partners in our Quit Losing Talent framework, or what I like to call the QLT framework. It's built on 4 pillars: attraction, activation, retention, and release. That tactical praise, that's a retention tactic in our retention strategy. The retention piece is where you create what we call a talent lock culture. We want to lock that talent in. I have a talent lock tool that you can even get in part of our programming with our QLT framework. But this is an environment where it's so supportive, so engaging, and focused on growth that your best people wouldn't think of leaving. So how do you build this? You have to focus on systematic development. This S in stay, I said earlier, stay is an acrostic for me. S in stay is systemize. It has to be systematic. There has to be a systematic way of developing people, especially your leaders. We've got to close that gap from promotion to leadership ability and effectiveness. You create clear pathways for growth. You engage in consistent, constructive feedback, and you make every single team member feel that their leaders invested in their success. This is important. When an organization implements things like this, the QLT framework, we've seen retention improve 60% in as little as 6 months, just by implementing some of the little tactical things that we teach. The results are tangible and they're fast because they're simple and easy to do. They take a little bit of time. But certainly, if you can reduce turnover by 60% in as little as 6 months, you're going to impact burnout because you got more people staying. We're spending more time focused on leadership and encouragement and coaching people up versus time interviewing, because we're constantly trying to backfill those that we've now lost in the organization. This all sounds great, but my team's too busy. They're already overwhelmed. We don't have time or the budget for this. And to be honest, that's a common misconception, and one that keeps organizations stuck in the cycle of turnover and burnout. The truth is, you're already paying for the problem. You're paying for it in recruitment cost, in overtime for strained workforce, in reduced engagement, reduced patient satisfaction, in errors, unfortunately, your medical mistakes, quality, all of those things that you're measuring, that we spend time measuring, you're paying for it in those areas. The cost of inaction is far greater than the investment in your leaders. Growing leaders makes them more valuable, not just for their next promotion, but right here, right now in their current role, because they're able to engage their employees more and reduce turnover and improve morale and engagement and all of those other things that we talked about. When a leader is properly equipped to engage their team, they unlock productivity. They solve problems you didn't even know were simmering under the surface. So let's make this practical, because that's what we want to do on the Lead Up podcast, is give you some practical ways and tools today that you can implement right now over the next 90 days without investing in me or any other consultant. What can you do in the next 90 days to start turning the tide of burnout in your organization? I'm going to give you 3 steps, as I said I was going to talk to you about earlier. Number 1, assess your current reality. I teach 4 cornerposts of high performance, and getting real is one of those cornerposts. The first thing you need to do here in this whole burnout crisis that we're in is assess your current reality. You can't fix a problem you don't fully understand. Look, in healthcare, we're really good at diagnosing and looking for problems in the patient, in people. But what about our organization? We need to slow down and assess our reality. The first step is just to get an honest look at where your leadership gaps are now. What are the specific behaviors or systems that are contributing to burnout. This is precisely why we offer a free talent management assessment you can get, again, on our homepage, harborresources.com. It's a tool designed to cut through the noise, give you a clear, objective view of your most urgent challenges. The second thing is engage with intention. Once you know your starting point, it's time to act. But don't try to start with high impact, low effort strategies. Dive into our engagement playbook. Pick one or two things to implement immediately. Maybe it's a structured micro recognition plan. Maybe it's implementing resilience coaching for your frontline managers. The key is to start somewhere and build momentum. Here's the third step. Act and adapt. Based on your assessment and your initial engagement efforts, develop a targeted improvement plan. This isn't a generic one-size-fits-all solution. This is about your organization, your leaders, and your specific. Here at Harbour Resources, this is where our partnership model shines. We help you create customized training and workshops that drive real behavior change attached to your strategic objectives, developing competencies and awareness that help your leaders grow to that next level. We ensure that your leaders are equipped to build a culture of retention, a place where people want to stay. We help you focus on the leadership habits that will foster a positive, supportive, engaging work environment for everyone. So I've given you 3 steps. I've challenged you to understand what the root cause of burnout is, what the results of that are on your organization. Let me repeat those steps. First, assess. Assess where you're at. Assess your current reality. Second is engage with intention. You have to be intentional. There's a lot of organizations that give lip service. They have good plans, but they don't engage with intention. They want others to do it. This can't be an HR function, by the way, either. This is a leadership function. And then third, we need to act and adapt. We never know where we need to adjust until we act. Action gives us results that we can adjust to or keep doing if it's working well. And then we can adapt our plan going forward. This is a clear, actionable plan to helping you begin to reduce burnout and begin to build a workplace where people can thrive. Look, the burnout crisis in healthcare is real. It's a big challenge that's in front of us right now, but it's not insurmountable. Just to give you a little backstory. A couple of years ago, my son and I, we went and we hiked the Grand Canyon. This is after 2 weeks of hiking in Utah and Colorado. And our kind of penultimate task was to hike to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We slept a couple nights and then hike back out. It's a 5,000 foot descent into the bottom of the canyon, and you got to climb back out 5,000 foot out of that canyon, carrying our gear on our back. Those last 3 miles coming out, it's a 10-mile hike back out, 5,000 feet. And those last 3 miles were brutal. They were a challenge. But once we stepped out of the canyon back on to the top, man, what joy we had, what relief we had. And it's a story that I can still talk about today. I want you to experience that same thing in this challenge that's in front of you, this workforce challenge that we're facing, this burnout challenge that we're facing. But it starts with that first step. It starts with being committed. It starts with intentionality, one foot in front of the other. Look, we're happy to partner with you. We've partnered with lots of people. If we can be of value to you, there's lots of resources on our website. You can go to Amazon.com and get a copy of my book, Quit Losing Talent. Grab the expanded edition. I've written that twice, but you want the expanded edition. It's the best one. It's got 20 tactics for you. I teach a lot. If you just go back and listen to many of the episodes on the Lead Up podcast, you can learn more about those things here. And if I can help you in a deeper, more engaging way, then I hope you'll consider giving me a call or shooting me an email. We'll find a way to work together. Here's what it's about. It's about shifting your mindset from seeing leadership development as a cost to understanding it's a strategic imperative for survival and growth. The ones who manage this the most effectively are going to survive and thrive and grow through it. And you have the power, as a leader, you have the power to create a workplace where your employees feel supported, where they feel valued, where they feel empowered to do their best work. And you can be the leader who stops the revolving door of talent. Look, no one's coming to save you. It begins with your leadership to guide the organization in a new way. Don't wait for the next wave of resignations. Don't let burnout continue to erode your team's morale and your organization's bottom line. The time to act is now. Let's make this year the year that things really begin to get better and change. To help you, I want to offer you 2 free resources. You can head over to our website, harborresources.com, Harbour resources.com. Download the Engagement Playbook. It's packed with strategies you can use today. Or if you're ready to get a clearer picture of your organization, take our free talent management assessment. There's a link right there on our homepage to do that. It's a place to start. It's the first step toward building that thriving workplace. If you want to spend a little money, go to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book. And if you want to go deeper, reach out to me via email. I'll be glad to have a conversation with you. Hey, I hope this has been a valuable conversation with you on the Lead Up Podcast. Continue to tune in. This year, we're going to look to really serve you at a deeper level. I'm going to be bringing leaders in here, interviewing them about how they're addressing this and many other leadership concerns that you have on your plate this year. Hey, thanks for joining me on this episode of the Lead Up Podcast. Let's keep leading with purpose, and let's make a difference every single day.